You are listening to Lighthearted, the official podcast of the United States Lighthouse Society. My name is Jeremy D'Entremont. Welcome. Today is November 2nd, 2025, and this is episode 329 of Lighthearted. My co-host is Michelle Jewel Shaw, chairperson of Friends of Portsmouth Harbor Lighthouses. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Jeremy, and hello to all of our listeners out there.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for taking time out of your busy schedule as a teacher to co-host again. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. I enjoy doing these podcasts.
Well, I enjoy having you co-host, so thank you again. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to listen to an interview with two men who have played a big role in the preservation of Lorain West Breakwater Light on Lake Erie in Ohio. I visited there during a recent trip I did just a few weeks ago, starting in Buffalo, New York, and working my way west along the lake. Is that a part of the world you've been to, Michelle?
I have not been that way. I've been to near Niagara Falls, just driving through parts like that to get to Toronto, Canada, on my honeymoon, actually. So a long time ago, but never out that way. No.
You didn't include Niagara Falls in your honeymoon when you drove out that way?
When we drove through on the way there, we were driving through a big snowstorm. So no, we didn't stop.
Uh-huh. Charlotte and I actually went to Niagara Falls on our honeymoon. I mean, we'd already been together a long time, but when you actually got married, we went to Niagara Falls. But anyway, it was nice to get back. I went to Niagara Falls on this trip as well. It was a great trip. The weather was perfect. It was unbelievable. It was just sunny and beautiful the whole time. The lighthouses were beautiful, and the people could not have been nicer. So why don't we get into introducing today's guests?
Sure, Jeremy. Lorain, Ohio, on the south shore of Lake Erie, about 25 miles west of Cleveland, is known for its history as an industrial hub, especially its steel mills. It's also been an important point for the shipping of materials like coal, iron ore, and limestone.
Lorain West Breakwater Lighthouse, also known simply as Lorain Lighthouse, began service in 1919, but several lighthouses and other aids to navigation predated it in Lorain Harbor, going back to the early 1800s. The building that stands today consists of a square tower rising from the corner of a 2.5-story keeper's house.
The lighthouse stands 58 feet above the water, and it has thick concrete and steel reinforced walls. It originally held a rotating fourth-order Fresnel lens. The station was occupied by male lighthouse service keepers and then a Coast Guard crew until it was decommissioned in early 1966.
The Coast Guard was planning to demolish the lighthouse, but local preservationists were able to lease the structure, and the demolition was canceled. The all-volunteer Lorain Lighthouse Foundation spearheads the preservation of the lighthouse, which is now owned by the Port of Lorain Foundation.
Frank Sipkovsky has fond memories of polishing the brass in Lorain Lighthouse in his youth. Today, he is retired from the city of Lorain and serves as the board chairman for the Lorain Lighthouse Foundation. Dave Kramer is on the board of trustees and serves as the historian. Both Frank and Dave have volunteered for more than 30 years.
Frank and Dave took me out to the lighthouse by boat, and we did the interview inside the lighthouse. You might hear a little noise outside. The window is open near me with a nice breeze. There might be a little boat sound or lake sound. I want to say ocean sound, but it's not an ocean, even though it looks like one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Great Lakes look like they are big inland oceans, but they, you're not in an ocean because it doesn't smell like an ocean because they're fresh water. So it's a really different feel.
Right.
They gave me a great tour of the place. I enjoyed the visit very much. So let's listen to my conversation with Frank Sipkovsky and Dave Kramer now. I am here today at the Lorain Harbor Lighthouse, and I'm going to ask you in a second, guys, if that's the proper way to refer to it. But hold that thought. But I am here with Frank Sipkovsky and Dave Kramer. Frank is the chairman of the Lighthouse Foundation. We'll talk more about that. And Dave Kramer is the historian for the Lighthouse. And it's a real pleasure visiting this place for the first time. You've done an amazing job here. It's beautiful, and it's great to meet you. So thank you both very much.
Well, thank you for coming out and giving us the opportunity so the people can understand what's happening in Lorain at the lighthouse.
What is the proper name of this lighthouse?
Lorain West Breakwater Lighthouse.
I'll try to refer to it that way from now on.
Navigational maps would have that.
Yeah.
West Breakwater.
Right. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question for both of you. And I know this goes back a while. I think you've both been involved since like 89. But so how did all that start for you personally, each of you? Dave, you want to go first? How did you get involved with this whole thing?
I was born where their breakwater goes to shore, and I grew up seeing this building out here all the time. We could go swimming down on the beach all the time, and it was always part of my life. And later on, after it was shut down, I got married and started having kids and stuff, and lost interest in it. But the building got shut down, and it got sold, and it transferred hands several times, and it finally ended up with the organization that sells lighthouses. And this was both purchased by the Port of Lorain Foundation, 1989. It was purchased for $1. That's when I started getting involved. I've done boating my whole life. I've always owned a boat, so it was just natural to finally. I had time on my hand then, and just to get involved with restoration of it. When the Port of Lorain Foundation bought the building, their purpose was to restore it and open it for public access. Had no idea it was going to take 35 years to do that.
Right.
But at the time, it was going to be like a 5-year project.
Yeah. Yeah. Frank, how did you get involved?
Originally, I was with another organization. It was called the Black River Historical Society. And at that time, they called it Port Awareness. So the foundation of the port asked us to get involved with bringing stuff about the lighthouse. And it was at the International Marina at that time. So that's where it started. We got involved, my wife and I did, by taking part in it. And next thing, it blossomed into more. Each year we kept getting involved, the Historical Society at that time. Then finally we would run the soda booths at the functions, the Port Awareness they called it, to raise money for the lighthouse. So my wife and I said, well, if we're going to be raising money for it, let's get involved. So we both been involved in this over 30 years. And it's been a love of work.
Yeah.
And we thought at that time when we took this place over, we'd never be to where we are today. If it wasn't for the donations and the love of the people in the community seeing what we're doing and the volunteers. My hat goes off to the volunteers. They are the backbone of this operation.
My hat goes off to the volunteers too. That's my brand new Lorain Lighthouse hat.
Well, thank you.
I'm wearing proudly right now. And you guys have been volunteers for all this time too, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Well, thank you for what you've done here. On behalf of Lighthouse fans everywhere, it's amazing. The first light around here was established in the early 1800s. I think it was just like a lantern on a pole, basically.
1837.
Well, that was right, but I think before that there was just a really simple light. But the first lighthouse, 1837. So why was a lighthouse needed here at that time? What was going on here so that they needed a lighthouse?
Well, there's a lot of shipping going on. We have a river here, the Black River, and Lorain was just, in fact, I think it was called Charleston at the time. They were shipping grain and corn and so forth.
Yeah.
But Lorain was just a little tiny settlement at that time. The lighthouse that was built, 1836 it actually.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little stone tower, it's what it was.
Yeah.
They weren't building boats or anything at that time yet. There's no steel plant at that time.
Right.
But later on, that stuff all did come to Lorain.
Sure. And the lighthouse we're in right now, I believe, was built in 1919. Do I have that right? 1919?
Actually, it was built, the blueprints are dated 1916.
Right.
During the construction in 1917, enough of it was built, and they put a temporary light in the tower in 1917. So some people say that that's the date that the lighthouse was started.
Sure, the light began
17 or
service in
19.
17, but really the lighthouse didn't.
But there was no people out here in 17.
Right, right. What do you guys think? What is like notable about this in the world of lighthouses? How, you know, anything you want to say about the building itself?
I think it's one of the early concrete lighthouses. Before that, there was rubble stone, with mortar,
Yeah, cast
or
iron.
steel or cast iron, and so it's one of the early concrete ones. But it's also got the house and the tower all combined. You don't have a keeper's house separate from the tower.
Yeah,
But being offshore, I don't think that's too unique.
yeah. There are some similar.
Yeah.
I don't know about looking. I don't think they look exactly like this. But how many rooms here? It's pretty spacious.
Well, it has besides the basement, which was coal storage early on. It has the first floor, which was the machinery room, had the air compressors and the generators and so forth.
Yeah.
Bathroom, tool room, and the second floor is the living quarters. It was a stag lighthouse at that time. Well, it's always been men only. He has a bedroom, kitchen, day room. They call it the office. And then the third floor is the attic floor,
Yeah.
which had the foghorns and the stairway going up into the light tower itself, and a storage tank for water. We've tried to replicate that as much as we could.
Yeah.
When we got the building was totally stripped. It had even the kitchen cabinetry was taken out. So we've been able to reproduce all that stuff based upon markings in the wall where things had been at one time, or keepers, and most of them are passed away now.
Yeah.
I'm going back about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
They would describe what the interior looked like,
Sure.
plus some pictures that we might have.
Yeah.
Well, there are not many interior pictures taken because fellows just didn't have cameras or
Right.
weren't interested in leaving behind a
Yeah.
history of the building.
Yeah, yeah. That's typical. Lighthouse keepers, it's so rare to find pictures of the interior of any lighthouse or keeper's house. And it's really unusual. So let me just ask you, speaking of the keepers here, and again, males only, stag station, no families here, right? Are there anything that stands out for you? Any stories or interesting keepers over the years? Anything like that?
There was women out here, but they weren't supposed to be.
Okay.
So the story is one of the keepers told us was he was out here and his girlfriend was out here with him,
Yeah.
and the Coast Guard chief went in a boat, went past the building and saw that. They continued on to the station, and when they got to the station, the chief said, "Okay, you guys get off the boat. I'm going back out the lighthouse." And he came back out here, and she was still here. They had nothing. They didn't know what to do with her. They stuck her in a water tank up to the third floor. It was a big box with 300 gallons. They put her in that. She was hiding. So when he searched the whole building and he walked out and he says, didn't say a word. Got back in his boat and went back to shore, and that was the end of the issue.
I hope the guys went back and got her out of the water tank.
They had to get her out of the water tank, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the stories that live on.
So the light here was deactivated in 1965. Is that right?
Correct.
Why was that?
They done a harbor improvement program, and they built some break walls, and they built the outer break wall is one of them.
Yeah.
And on the end of that break wall, they built the Lorain Harbor light that you see now. You'll see it on your charts and so forth. It's not this building anymore. It's the light. It's the automated light that had foghorns and Fresnel lens, a modern style lens. So this building here was just going to be surplus.
Yeah.
And the Coast Guard declared it as such. And they even have a blueprints made up for demolition, and they were going to cut the building off at the first floor level. The first floor would remain, but the rooms of the first floor would be gone, and the walls of the first floor would be gone. and they would put a light post in there and put a light on it. That was a 1963 plan. And it would just be a red light because you red to the right when returning.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be marking marking the end of the pier head.
So how did it get saved?
Through a group organized to save the lighthouse. And of course, this happened in a lot of towns where individuals got together and lighthouses got saved because the Coast Guard was automating them, and it was a cost savings just by easier just to demolish them.
Yeah.
And get rid of them.
Sure.
So I've heard of cases where even the lenses were tossed out.
Oh yeah.
Smashed.
Yeah. Before they knew better.
Yeah. Before the Coast Guard realized they were worth millions of dollars.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the group got together in 1963, 64, 65, and Lorain businessman, his name was Wayne Kahn at the time. He organized the Save the Lighthouse Committee, and they petitioned. Besides contacting the U.S. representative for this area and working through Washington, they also passed a petition around and got a lot of signatures on it. And we happen to have that original petition in our little museum.
Yeah.
A lot of the names are names, and my dad's even on that. My mom's on that. That petition, I guess, got the attention of the Washington. The demolition got canceled.
Yeah. Stay of execution.
And I understand that the contractor who had a $25,000 bid to do the demolishing, I don't think he minded it so much because he said it would cost him a lot more than that just to do the actual demolition. This building has the walls are 20 inches thick of mostly concrete.
Yeah.
And the second floor is 10 inches. It was built much better than what he figured it was built.
Right. Right. Yeah. It would have been really expensive to demolish it, I'm sure. So again, well, jumping ahead actually to '89 is when your group got involved, and I'm wondering, part one, what was the condition like at that time? And I know you guys have shown me all these pictures and stories of how the place was saved, and it's, we don't have time to go into it because there's so much that's been done over the years. But Frank, maybe you could say a bit about what the condition was like originally and what some of the major work that's been done over the years has been.
Well, when we came out here to start doing work, the condition was very bad. Of course, the lighthouse set for a long time before the foundation got their act together. We had to raise money in order to do some of the work out here. And the one thing that was really mind-boggling was the group asked the school kids to raise money to help us out. It was called Pounds for Pennies. They built replica of the lighthouse. It was parochial schools and the public schools that got involved. Well, they raised the money in order to help us do the work on the lighthouse. They raised 5,005 cents. They raised to so we could start the work on the lighthouse. But the condition of the lighthouse, we had bird feces in the house. They got into it. We had a family of raccoons living in the basement, so we had to clean this all out. And plus, we had to turn around, and when they started to do the work, we had to go out and ask people to help us with tools and supply us with supplies because we didn't have that much money.
Yeah.
And they believed in what we're doing, so they offered. We had to tear all the plaster out of the house. It was in bad shape. We had to remove all the railings on the outside of the lighthouse because they were in bad shape, and we had to raise funds in order to get the railings made. And then we started on the inside. We had to sandblast all the metal, clean it all up, and that took time. We had to bring everything out here by boat, take everything back to shore by boat. And that time we had like a 16-foot steel boat that the Coast Guard found floating in the harbor, and they offered it to us, so we took it. That was our transportation. Actually, they give it to the Port Authority. The Port Authority give it to us to use it to come back and forth. And when we started, we had that boat, and we hauled lots of stuff out here. And the thing is, was bags of sand, silicon sand and sandblast. We hauled over 800 buckets, 5-gallon buckets of plaster out of this house so we could get it cleaned up. Then we had to hire people to come in. The only 3 things that actually we didn't do in this lighthouse as volunteers was 1, paint the outside of the lighthouse and repair it. 2 was electrical work on the inside. IBEW, local union electricians, came out and they volunteered and give us supplies. We hired a professional to do the plastering on the inside of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And that saved us. It cost us to do the plastering for the material and that. But the thing is that the volunteers, we couldn't handle a big project like that.
Yeah.
But as time went on, the people seen what we were doing. And actually in 2003 is when we had the original open house of the lighthouse. We wanted the public to see what the lighthouse looked like after they donated money. It was under construction. So we did over 600 people on a weekend. We used 6-pack boats, fishing boats, charter, to bring the people out here. We ran it for 3 days like this, and it was in conjunction with our Port Awareness Weekend. And the people loved it. We wanted them to see, like I said, what it looked like under construction, and today we wanted them to come out to see what the finished product is and what their money went towards.
I'm sure their minds were blown. By
Especially the kids.
Yeah, yeah.
We did it so the kids, they donated their pennies. So as they became adults and their kids, they can come out and say, we raised money to save this lighthouse.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, getting the kids involved like that. It's happened in a few other places, but your story is absolutely great. And you're right, it kind of invests them in the place, and they can say that I had something to do with that later on. Yeah, well, that is really great. I saw on your website there's still maintenance going on. Obviously, you're never done with a place like this.
Nope.
And you said, as you mentioned, the vast majority of the work over the years has been done by volunteers, with a couple of exceptions. But are there still maintenance jobs being carried out by volunteers these days?
Yes, there is. It's just like 2 years ago, we had a group of young teenagers, young adults, I would say. They volunteered. There was 6 of them. And actually, it was a Boy Scout troop, and they had to earn some credit for the community towards a badge. Well, we supplied the paint and the material, and they came out and painted the inside of the lighthouse. From the first floor all the way to the second floor, they painted towards their community service. So it's a continued. It's like maintenance of your house at home. You're constantly doing something. We have dinners out here, sunset dinners we call them, as part of our fundraiser. We have 4th of July out here. It's like a picnic. You sit on the deck outside and you watch the fireworks from shore. It's a panoramic view. And that's our fundraiser. That's how we keep the maintenance of the lighthouse going, and that's where the volunteers come in. Anything we do out here, it's run by the volunteers. And if you want to be on my board, the chairman says you must be volunteer at all functions to be on the board. That's one of the purposes being on this board. You cannot be on the board and write it on your resume and say, I volunteer at the lighthouse. You gotta be a working volunteer.
We also do regular tours.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about in addition to the events you just mentioned, Frank, you do, is it like occasional tours as well?
Yeah, we do a set schedule, and maybe there's, we start in June. We do it, and we run it from June to September, and it's like sometimes it's on the weekends, sometimes it might be one day during the week. We do tours. We're restricted for the amount of people that can be on the tour boat by the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard says that the tour boat that we rent from the Port Authority can hold 18 people, and that's what we bring out each time. Mm-hmm. Every time we have a function, anything over 18, that tour boat's got to go back and forth. And we set the tours in the lighthouse for the public is like every hour when we do it. Mm-hmm. And it's 18 people, and then we have our gift shop here. That's our main source of raising money, is with our gift shop. We do not have a brick and mortar place on shore. Mm-hmm. So you have to go in line to order stuff, and then we mail it. And by the way, this is our 12th year of being the best lighthouse on Lake Erie, beating out Marblehead, beating out New York, and Canada, and Michigan. So this is our 12th year, so that goes to show you that we're doing something right.
I guess so, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. And was that is it like a People's Choice type award, right? That people vote for, is that right?
Yes, what it is, it's through Lake Erie Living magazine. Mm-hmm. What it is that you call in, it's on the website. You email, and you pick out your best. This time we were selected as best lighthouse and also historical site. So we got a double whammy this time.
Yeah. So
that's, like I say, it's due to the volunteers.
That is incredible, because I've been seeing some of the lighthouses on Lake Erie the last few days, and there's some great ones. And I'll be seeing some more, but this one is so impressive, and I just think that's great you've gotten those awards. Okay, Dave, I think there's a question for you. Can you tell me about I believe it was a 4th order Fresnel lens that was in this lighthouse? What happened to it? Where is it now?
Well, when it was taken out of the building in 1965, it went to Cleveland. That's where the District 9 headquarters are at, Coast Guard District 9. And it sat there in one of their buildings, their offices, for a while. And that's when the lenses were being loaned out to lighthouses, and with not much of a restriction involved. So the Charlotte, Genesee Lighthouse in New York was opening up. They had a museum restored, and their tower is attached to the building. And they asked for a lens, and they got our lens. And I did see it while it was there. They got a 30-year lease on it, and they done absolutely nothing to it. As far as the clock works, the mechanism that rotated it, that was never restored. Nothing was ever done to that. The lens did not work, but it was in their tower for 30 years, and their lease came to an end. And at that time, that's when the Coast Guard was realizing the real value of these lenses. So they put a lot of restrictions on for the Charlotte, Genesee Lighthouse to continue using that lens, displaying it. A lot of restrictions. When they had to come out of the tower, they had to build a building for it, and so on and so forth. And they decided just to give it up. And that's about the same time when our foundation was requesting a lens. And ours just happened, the timing was just right. So our Port Authority was building a building at that time down on the riverfront. And the Coast Guard said that if that building is air conditioned, it's humidity controlled, and so on and so forth. And if we build a case for the lens, we can get it back into Lorain. So a case did get built, and it's on display now during the Monday to Friday. It's on display at the Lorain Port Authority office on land.
Yeah.
It will never come back out to this building because the conditions just aren't proper for it. Plus, it's a lens that needs to be maintained by people. It's not automatic, like today's lens lights would be. So that's how we got it back. We have insurance on it. The insurance, if anything happens to it, the Coast Guard gets the benefit of it, and we get nothing.
It's about every 5 or 10 years the Coast Guard notifies us, and we have to send them photos that we still have it and where it's at. And it's in working condition due to the fact that Dave Kramer, he took a transformer motor from a train set and set it so it would revolve. The Port Authority can turn it on. The light comes on and revolves. And plus, when you turn it, the light also goes around. So it actually shows you how it operated when it was out here.
It's fully operational now. I took the clockworks and took it all apart, cleaned everything up, put it back together again in my little workshop in my garage at home. So it's on display now.
If I may, is that the wood that's around on the floor here, we stripped all the wood out to replace the wooden floor. Plus we did the molding. Well, the molding around on the floor, Dave took home and he built the case. He recycled the wood and he built the case for that lens. And that's part of the history of this lighthouse. It went with the lens.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, Frank. Actually, Dave, you mentioned that to me when you were telling me about the case earlier. And speaking of your workshop, tell me about the fog signal components you've created in your workshop. That's pretty interesting.
Well, when we during the restoration, we were pretty much done with the building, but we still did not have the diaphones for the type CC foghorns that the building had originally. And one of our board members had a connection with an engineer, and 3D printing was an interest of mine. And this engineer was able to create files for a 3D printer, and they made us 2 diaphones to put on display up on the 3rd floor for the foghorns. And after that was done, I just got fascinated by the whole process, and I talked to that engineer if I could get the files for 3D printer, and he was more than willing to pass it on to me, and I built some. If any lighthouses out there need a CC foghorn, that's the BO. It's the whole unit is 48 inches in length. That's including the horn mechanism and the diaphone. And if they want to contact the Lorain Lighthouse Foundation, we have some available that they can put on either display in a museum or buy just a diaphone if they want to finish up the display in the lighthouse itself.
Yeah.
But these lighthouse these foghorns assemblies are probably more rare than the lenses are themselves because they were melted down. There were a lot of brass in them. Yeah. And they were melted down for World War II artifact, making bullets and stuff for that.
Yeah.
And so we have some.
Okay.
We actually have them. We're ready to go.
Somebody, you never know who might be listening.
They do not blow. They do not blow. They're
Right.
made of plastic.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They look like they would, but
They look like they would.
yeah, yeah. Well, you never know who might be listening. Somebody might be, looking to set up a display like that.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah, so I hope you might click with somebody there. So let me just make something clear. Either of you could take this question, but the Lorain Lighthouse Foundation is the name of the organization, right? It's a nonprofit organization. Does the Lorain Lighthouse Foundation actually own the lighthouse at this point?
Yes, we own the lighthouse. The foundation owns it. The Corps owns the base.
Window.
Yeah, $1 we bought it. So we maintain it, and then we've got close to over $1 million stuck in the renovation of it. The lighthouse itself, the base of the lighthouse, like I said, is owned by the Corps, and of course the state of Ohio owns the land underneath it.
Yeah.
But as long as the Corps says, as long as we maintain it and keep it up, we shouldn't have any problem, in which we've been doing. They come out every once in a while and check, or like I said, they call us or email us. But no, we own it.
And when you say the Corps, of course, the Army Corps of Engineers.
That's
and
correct.
so they own the base and they own the breakwater as well, right?
Right.
So let's talk about the access to the lighthouse. We already talked about the tours and everything. When I look out the window here towards land and see the breakwater, one of you mentioned Rockland Breakwater earlier, and I think of someplace like that in Maine, Rockland Breakwater Light, where you can actually walk from shore out to the lighthouse. That's not the case here, right? So other than the scheduled tours or the dinners and things you have out here, if some lighthouse buff is coming to the area to see the lighthouse, do you have any recommendation for like where they should go to get the best view of it?
Best view, and of course the only way you can get out here is by boat. The best view is at Oasis Marina. It's on Lakeside Avenue. We call it the Mile Pier. You can walk out and see the lighthouse, or you can go to Lakeview Park. It's run by the Metro Parks. You can see the lighthouse from there. And in the evenings, the lighthouse is lit up. We got state funding. They contacted the city of Lorain, the mayor's office, and said that they had some extra money and they wanted to light some kind of structure. So he recommended the lighthouse. They contacted us and we told them what we had. Originally, we had other lights. And they said, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Our lights are all in color. We can set them to different colors. We have Vincent Lighting out of Cleveland. They do the Terminal Tower and other facilities in Cleveland. So they came out and they set it up for holidays and special occasions. We can light it up in color, and we do it all by phone. Everything nowadays is set up by phone.
Yeah.
It takes a little work, but we can do it. We have a volunteer that handles that. But as far as coming out, like I say, Oasis Marina, or you can go online, LorainLighthouse.com, and find out when we have tours. Hook up. You can go online. You find out. You can pick out the time, and you put it on a credit card. And you can pay through there, and it's all set up, and you can take the tour of the lighthouse. And our volunteers out here, they have the knowledge of what's going on at this lighthouse if you've got questions.
Sure.
That's the main point.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, and I recommend it. Let me ask you, I saw something about a movie was shot here recently. Can you tell me just a little bit about that?
We have a Lorain native, John Baumgartner. He lived in Lorain, grew it up, but he went to California. But he come back home and he contacted us, and he did a book or a novel, and he wanted to turn it into a movie called Beneath the Lighthouse. We had a showing of it probably about 3 weeks ago. We did about 1,400 people in the theater to see it. Then they showed it again. They did about 300 to see it. It's like a murder mystery. The funny part about it is the year that he shot the movie out here at the lighthouse, see, some of it's done on shore and part of it's done out here. Well, we just had the lighthouse painted on the outside. So he said that he was going to dirty up the lighthouse to make it old. He took the shutters, some of the shutters off, and he put wooden shutters up, and he made it creepy, dirty looking. And my volunteers myself said, oh no. And of course, John Baumgartner says, we'll put it all back the way it was, which he did. He cleaned it all up. He put the shutters back and everything. But if you get a chance, it's coming out October 4th or 14th. It's going to be available, I believe, that you can see it or go online and pick it up. But it was fantastic. I mean, Lorain was busy at that time. We had a lot of production going on. They shot a lot of places in the marina out here. They was out here night and day doing shots. And it was a boost in the arm because some of the people that saw the movie, we noticed an increase in tourists coming out. They wanted to see the lighthouse. They wanted to see action where the movie was made.
Yeah.
If I could add just one thing to that, the interior in the movie is not the interior of the building. All of the shots outdoors, most of the shots outdoors, were outside of the lighthouse building, but the interior is nothing at all like what the movie shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any ghost stories? Does this place have any stories along those lines?
Yes, we had a couple paranormals come out. One that came out, it was probably about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. They contacted me. They wanted to spend the night. I said, okay. So I brought them out, and they set up their equipment on all the floors and that stuff. So during the evening, it was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to shut the lights off on the outside of the lighthouse. They wanted total darkness. And I happened to be standing in the day room looking through into the kitchen through the doorway. And we were standing there talking. And I looked and I saw this shadow come out of the bedroom, walk over to the sink and bend down. I couldn't believe it. I looked around to make sure nobody was moving, and I knew the lights were off on the outside. Well, I says, So we went downstairs, and in the bathroom downstairs, one of the facilitators took a flashlight, put it on the back of the toilet, turned it on. He says, ask us some questions. So I did. And I says, do you like what's going on out here? The light went off. So I asked it some more, other questions. The light came on. Like, yes, no, yes, no. So I told the guys, 2 guys were standing on the side of me, I said, take your hands out of your pocket. I said, hold them out in front of me. Now I asked it a question, that light went off. And I says, I believe. But we had others out here, and they said there's spirits out here.
Yeah. Well, anybody who listens to this podcast very much has heard me say I'm an open-minded skeptic. So I don't believe everything I hear, but I also, from personal experience, I know there's something to this, so I don't, discount what you're saying at all.
They say when there's artifacts in a building, the spirits come back to make sure you're taking care of what's in there. Because, like, if I may, is that when I was involved in the Historical Society, we had a table, and we had paranormals come in, and there was a table in the kitchen. And the guy, the facilitator, I was standing there, and he was by the sink, and he says, I'm going to wash the dishes up. Is there anybody here that would help me? Mm-hmm. And there was a raspy voice that said yes. And I found out that week, that table in that kitchen came from a family that their mother had cancer and died.
Oh, wow.
And I says, that, I believe now.
Yeah, yeah. I believe you, you know, having had experiences and everything. So, and you know, if you believe that there's some possibility of this at all, then any place with history like a place like this is probably going to have something going on for sure. So I have two final questions, and these are for both of you, okay? And these are for bonus points, all right? Okay, the first bonus point question is, why does Lorain Lighthouse, Lorain Harbor West Breakwater, like the proper name, right? Why does it need to be preserved? And either of you can take that first.
To me, and to some of the board members, history's being lost. It's not being saved like it used to. And the purpose of the lighthouse, and called Jewel of the Port, is due to the fact, years ago when shipping was very busy in the harbor, going in and out, it was the guiding light for people. And then we have old timers that used to sit on shore and look at the light and said, you know, it's a jewel. And it was more or less like a guiding light, showing the way. And they always wondered, when they come out for tours, they always wondered what was in this lighthouse. Mm-hmm. And it was on their bucket list. We do a lot of functions out here. Weddings, we do fashion shows, we do everything out here. This is the lighthouse for the public. It's theirs. They donate it. They get to use it. Of course, there's a cost to it because we have to maintain it. But it's here for them. And to me, it's a symbol of brightness in the future.
And the symbol of Lorain is the lighthouse. And if you think back, our river, the way Lorain developed, we had a shipyard here, and we had a big steel mill. These are all shut down now. Mm-hmm. But the shipyard, many of the 1,000-foot boats that you see on the Great Lakes right now were built right here in Lorain. During the many years, the lighthouse was here guiding boats coming into Lorain Harbor, large lake freighters. And Lorain grew tremendously because of that. I don't think Lorain would be anything near what it is today if it hadn't been for the river. And the lighthouse was the symbol of Lorain.
Yeah, and without safe navigation, you wouldn't have had any of that.
That's right.
Yeah. So, final question for bonus points. And before I ask the question, if you don't mind me saying, Dave, you mentioned to me before, and age is just a number, but you mentioned the year 89. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. And I just, again, thank you for the years that you put into this place. So,
I have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my last question, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is for both of you again. What has been your favorite aspect of your involvement with this lighthouse?
Is seeing the public come out here and enjoy it, seeing their smiles, and telling us we did a good job. That is it.
Dave?
Just knowing that I've been involved in a project that is so meaningful, and to be part of it, to leave something for the people behind us, to keep Lorain in the picture, to do something worthwhile.
Yeah.
And this has been my choice of projects.
Well, it's like it's been doing it for so long, both of you. It's like it's part of you. It's deep inside you, I'm sure. The devotion you've given this place. So again, on behalf of Lighthouse aficionados everywhere, thank you, both of you. And not just lighthouses, it goes beyond that, as you said, the history of this area and everything. It's so important. So thank you for all you've done, both of you. Thank you very much for taking me out here and showing me around the lighthouse, and thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I hope the people that's listening to this get an opportunity to come out and see us and enjoy.
You can learn more at LorainLighthouse.com. You can order a beautiful lighthouse ornament that features the lighthouse with fireworks behind it on the 4th of July. Tours are over for this season, but will return next year from June to September.
My recent drive along Lake Erie, I would say was one of my best lighthouse trips ever. The weather was perfect, as I said before, the whole time. It's always a thrill to visit a lighthouse by boat, especially one as beautifully restored as Lorain West Breakwater Lighthouse. And again, a big thanks to Frank and Dave for the tour and the great conversation.
Be sure to check out uslhs.org to learn more about everything the U.S. Lighthouse Society offers, including tours, preservation grants, and the research catalog. Donations and membership help support this podcast.
On a different subject, I recently helped run a Cape Cod tour, and my niece Tina Hans and I are putting together a Down East Maine tour for next June. Some details on the website now. We'll be adding more detail. It'll be another good one. I also want to mention that locally, you and I are working to raise funds to rebuild the footbridge that provides access to Portsmouth Harbor Lighthouse.
Right. We want to rebuild the walkway to provide access to the lighthouse and to be able to give tours again. People can go to portsmouthharborlighthouse.org to learn more about it. There's also a GoFundMe page.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about that in future episodes, hopefully with a lot of good news. There are a couple of other things I want to mention quickly before we sign off. First, there's a nice new addition to the small number of lighthouse-related podcasts that are out there. It's called Lighthouse Lore, L-O-R-E. Each episode is just 3 or 4 minutes. It's a collection of short stories based on the tragedies, hauntings, and mysteries of the world's lighthouses. It's produced by my friend Rob Apps, who's been on this podcast a few times. He's an excellent filmmaker. You can hear it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just search for Lighthouse Lore. I also wanted to mention that I'll be doing a virtual presentation on the history of the Flying Santa of the lighthouses, something we've talked about in this podcast a few times. The presentation is Monday evening, November 3rd, which is tomorrow, if you're listening on the day this episode comes out. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, again, Monday evening, November 3rd. I'm doing it for the Public Library in Ashland, Massachusetts. If you want to be in the audience, just Google Ashland Library, use their calendar to find the event, and register. I hope some of our listeners might be in the audience. One more quick thing. I want to congratulate Emily Strait and Vince Bailey, the hosts of the podcast, The Lighthouse Lowdown. I've had them on this podcast, and Emily has co-hosted. Emily and Vince are getting married. I just found out by listening to their latest episode. I want to wish them all the best, and I also wanted to remind our listeners that they should check out the podcast, The Lighthouse Lowdown.
A reminder, if you listen on a platform that lets you post reviews, please rate and review us. We just might read your review in a future episode.
Thanks again for co-hosting today, Michelle.
You're very welcome.
We will be back with the Lighthearted Light episode next Sunday and a new episode featuring Dunkirk Lighthouse in New York 2 weeks from now. For now, to all our regular listeners and our new ones, thanks so much for listening and
keep a good light.